Hello, and welcome to the Original Remake Podcast, a show where we take the role of Hollywood executives, shamelessly exploiting your nostalgia for money. My name is Pat, and I'm joined by Amy,
Hello.
Andrea,
What up?
and Nick.
Oh, hi.
And today we're going to be discussing the Super Mario Brothers 1993 live action film.
I can't believe this.
That is correct.
It's happening.
It's happening right now. This is probably the only way you would rewatch it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I did not have fond memories of it like you did, and surprisingly did not hate it this time.
Yeah. I was very confused after I was done watching this movie. I went into this being like, wow, this is gonna be terrible. They made a Super Mario Brothers movie. This is just this has got to be garbage. And as I was watching it, I wasn't hating it. I didn't think it was amazing, but it wasn't bad. And I was like sitting through it, and at no point in time did I want to be like, no. And for the first like 15 minutes of the movie, or maybe even a half an hour, it seemed relatively normal. It was just like, okay, these people it just seems normal. And if I were to compare it to the first movie that we watched, like there were many times during that film where I was like, I can't do this, man. This is so bad. But with this movie, it was like, not bad. Not great. Not bad.
I despise this movie. Here's how much I hate it. There's something called riff tracks, which if you've ever heard of Mystery Science Theater 3000, it's the original. Those original guys do their kind of own spin-off called riff tracks, where they do kind of commentary tracks making fun of the film. This movie's so bad that I didn't even enjoy a commentary track making fun of the movie while I was watching it.
You don't get to say that and pick a movie like Big Trouble in Little China. Okay, you can't say both. You can't do both.
I disagree. I think Big Trouble in Little China is good, and when it's bad, I think it's bad on purpose. I think Super Mario Brothers is bad on accident. Here's how bad I think it is. The best part of the movie is the plumbers' rivalry in the beginning of the film. That's the most compelling part.
I don't know about that.
I thought the first like 3/4 of the movie was 100% like believable, and like I was there for it.
It was.
And then when the fungus monster happened, that's when I started falling apart. I'm
Why
like,
do I not
oh,
remember the fungus
okay.
monster?
Her dad.
Oh yeah, that was a little messed up.
He's actually in almost the whole movie. Every time a fungus tries to give someone a bomb to blow up, that's her dad trying to have this wind up bomb.
Because he's de-evolved. He's trying to help the heroes beat King Koopa.
Oh no, I got it.
Do you get it? It all makes sense. It all ties in.
I guess the point of clarification for those who haven't watched it.
Oh yeah.
Don't watch it. Don't. I mean, or do. You do you. Gluttons for punishment, go for it. Sadists, you do you. It's not excellent. It's not great. It's not good. But it's not awful.
This is true.
You know what I will say, it is unique.
Yes, and the portrayal of the Mario universe, the way that they did it, the way they tried to spin it into something more than it was, you know, in the time of every video game getting spun off into a movie. I think what they did in leaning into the whole mushroom and fungus thing, I think they went a little too far. And circling back to where I was going was, for those that don't know and haven't seen this, the father of Princess Peach is, or I'm sorry, Daisy.
Daisy.
Right. See, coming from the video games, I saw her as Princess Peach for some reason.
Princess Peach is in another castle, Nick. Don't you know that by now?
I'm sorry.
Princess Peach is Mario's love interest. In the video game, Princess Daisy is Luigi's.
Right, and that's why it's Daisy.
Which I understood after looking it up, but it didn't bother me either way.
I mean, it bothered me because I don't know anything about Mario Brothers because I didn't play it as a kid. I'm probably like the only child on the face of the planet who hasn't played Mario Brothers.
You poor child.
Super Mario Brothers. But I knew, Princess Peach. I've played Super Smash Brothers. Like, I knew that. And I was like, well, why wouldn't they put that in here? I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I get it from the Daisy and Luigi perspective, that being kind of the A plot of the movie, but like, her father / father figure is literal fungus growing on the walls. That was just weird.
It was very weird.
And like in the beginning, they just kind of hint that that's a thing, but you're like, okay, cool. It's just a hint. I hope they're not going that. They went that way.
You would have never thought.
No, I mean, they spelled it right out for you. It's just the execution, I think, was kind of awful. But I don't know. I'm really torn about this one. I don't have the nostalgia value that I'm sure you have. But even still, I liked it way better than the topic of episode 1 for us, Big Trouble in Little China.
That's hurtful to me.
Yeah, well,
the truth hurts.
Although I will say Bob Hoskins is amazing in everything he's in. I love that guy.
Yeah, I think he really did a good job carrying this movie.
Yeah. He carried the whole thing on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did.
And now he's dead.
Yep. And I really hate Dennis Hopper, man. Yeah, guys.
He was a great villain. Villain.
He was a great villain, but God, I hated him.
Really?
Dennis Hopper guaranteed was high the entire movie.
Well,
really?
And I read in an article that both Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo were drunk the whole time. Absolutely the whole time. And they've even had interviews, and I saw one of them on a show or whatever, them admitting to it, that it was just a lot of stuff going on in the production of this movie, to where you could maybe blame that there wasn't really a good communication between the two directors.
The directors also of Max Headroom, in reference to Ready Player One. Seems like all of our movies are connecting quietly this round.
So that's interesting, because Max Headroom was actually pretty great.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't get eye to eye on the actual concept. He wanted more of a dark 90s Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how it came out in the 90s. Those were really in that dark movies geared towards children theme, and she wanted more of a comedy gimmick, sort of bringing in the younger generation, so you can
see that
visually see the fight in the whole entire movie. And being a kid, I liked both type of concepts because you're a kid, so I didn't really take into the actual adult view of, is this a good movie? No, I just enjoyed seeing a lot of cool things and dinosaurs and saving the princess. So it was fun to actually look back to see where exactly you could see them butting heads.
I think that's interesting that you point out that there were like the two directors had completely different visions. I didn't know that. And like you said, now that you pointed out, like, yeah, I can definitely see that. And it was almost like the movie was trying to make a point, but it never really got there. Like the de-evolution, is that even a thing in Super Mario Brothers? Like the game, is de-evolution even a thing?
I don't believe so. No. I think they definitely, when they bought the rights to make this movie from the guy who created Nintendo.
Yep, that guy.
I don't know his name. I can't say his name, but anyways, they bought the rights for making this movie, and they gave these two directors complete control. And nowadays, that would never happen. Absolutely never. On such a big company as Nintendo and the franchise of Mario Brothers, that would just never happen now. So they took the basic concept of two plumbers going into an alternate dimension to save a princess, and then they put it into their own little scheme.
You can see that, like the whole fungus thing, like you can tell it's kind of a nod to the whole
Mushrooms.
mushrooms,
I mean, almost
toadstool.
everything is a nod to the video games, to either King Koopa. No, I'm sorry. Everything was a nod to President Koopa and his two henchmen cousins, Spike and Iggy. Those are both characters in one of the Super Mario Brothers, either World or second or third video game that came out.
They ended up being allies, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I don't really know in the video games if that's even a concept. I mean, it's so basic. Two plumbers go and save a princess. You just go to different worlds. So they did their own spin. And even Big Bertha, the woman who had those boots and jumping around.
Oh, yeah.
She was based off of a character in Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
it was the fish, and I apologize for not knowing the name, but it was the red fish that ate.
Oh, I thought it was the red jumpy thing that threw the hammers at you.
I read somewhere else that it was based off of the red fish, which I can't remember the name of the video game character.
The fish are cheap.
Are they red?
Yeah, but I don't know where Bertha came from. Oh, you know what? The regular ones are green. The big red one is Big Bertha.
Okay, so maybe it was...
That's the boss.
The boss at the end of the levels where you have to kill him. That's where that basically came from. To the bar where they were at, where was it called? Thumpa?
Yeah.
That was part of the video game. So they tried to pull it in for the video game.
Yeah, it was. I just didn't like the execution on any of those nods. Like,
for anyone that would get it, you'd want to see a better execution.
Yeah.
For people that haven't seen or played the video games, people who haven't played the video games would have no idea why.
It's almost like the writers got drunk and stoned at the same time and tried to find these shallow, one-dimensional ways of tying in a weird storyline that they wanted to push to a video game. It almost feels like the storyline pre-existed and couldn't get greenlit as like a sci-fi flick or something, and then they pushed it into the Mario narrative.
I mean, back then it's hard to look at something like, for example, the recent Sonic film, which is quite entertaining and still manages to be a Sonic film. It's hard to imagine someone doing that in the 90s. You know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one thing, but that was a TV show, not a video game. And the fact that the most popular video game of that time was a plumber going into a fantasy world, like, it just doesn't actually make any sense as a story. So the fact that they chose that to make that into a movie is bizarre even now. We should probably actually now that I mention it, they are we're currently in 2022, and they are going to be making a Super Mario Brothers, but it looks to be an animated one. So just to be clear, Amy, you're remaking this as a live action film, is that correct?
Yes, if I would be able to remake this movie, it would be a live action, because I just want to see how it would go about. I feel like if little, tweaks and changes would happen to the original, it would have been a lot better. So I think it could happen. And I would also make it a prequel. I'm sorry, a sequel. A sequel.
Okay.
Because at the end of Super Mario Bros. 1993, Daisy comes back and asks for the plumber's help saving her world. So I'm going to add on to that.
I tried to look that up and tried to figure out why. Like, did they already have a second movie greenlit? Were they trying to... No, legitimately, the directors did that to try and leverage the studio into a second movie before they'd even truly gotten greenlit on the first one.
You can't go back if it's on the screen. So I would make the remake a live action.
Okay. I guess kind of walk us through briefly why you want to remake it.
Well, I would choose to remake this movie because I don't feel like the original one was that bad. I feel the base was pretty good. It's about two brothers. You can obviously see, the camaraderie together, and they go into an alternate dimension to save someone that they really like. And I just think that kind of concept would completely fly in this day and age. If it's a good director, if it's good acting, good concept. And I just think it had a bad rap. Not a lot of people liked it. I want to give it another chance.
All right, fair. So with that in mind, let's jump on then to casting. Obviously, if Bob Hoskins was alive, no matter how old he was, we would keep him because he's brilliant.
Oh God, yes.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I think he was really good, and I think he helped keep it grounded in some kind of reality. And I think Bob Hoskins is a great choice because of, and like I saw him in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and that movie is animated and
Ish.
some animation and
Live
action,
Yeah.
all kind of smushed together. And it's like he has that kind of experience enough to be able to do what they did here.
It's almost like it's a blueprint for what you would do if you needed to put a real life actor inside, I don't know, a video game or something. Anyways, Let's
Exactly.
move on.
Yes.
Which is why they chose him. And they went back and forth, and he kept saying he would not take the role at all. And they asked him multiple times. I don't know how they got to do it. Probably money. I guess going into this movie, he didn't know what Mario Brothers was. The only reason he knew was, I believe his son said he played the video game. So,
Aww.
and this was back in '93. Mario Brothers only came out in '85. So,
all right. So going on the casting then for Mario, I've written here in parentheses, don't cast Chris Pratt. Don't do it. So don't do it.
they can do it if they want to. But isn't he already?
He's gonna be the voice of Mario in the animated one.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
So my feud with Chris Pratt continues. But Amy, go ahead and tell us your pick for Mario. And
I picked Kevin James. He's a comedic actor.
That's true.
I kind of picked him because I feel like he could do the whole plumber look, feel. Not gonna lie, I don't love.
She's calling Kevin James fat, I think is what's happening here.
Yes.
What kind of Kevin James are we talking here? Are we talking King of Queens? Are we talking Paul Blart?
We talking Hitch?
I kind of want both.
Right, Hitch.
I want both. To tell you the truth, I mean, Mall Cop was kind of not my cup of tea, but I guess I was casting him because of his visual look.
I feel like that he could do that though. I like that choice a lot.
I think it could work.
He's funny. But you kind of want to like him.
He could make the slapstick part of it work.
He can be sarcastic,
and he's definitely blue collar. Like you have to have someone who could believably be like a blue collar worker or a blue collar dude, because that's, I mean, kind of what a plumber is. It's
exactly
traditionally blue collar profession, and I feel like Kevin James could do that. So yeah, I totally agree with that pick.
All right, Nick, Andrea, do you have any picks for Mario?
No, I was having a hard time personally. I was just like, I don't know who I would cast for this. My brain just can't make it work.
Not gonna lie, I kind of peeked at the document and saw your choices and could not come up with anything better.
Amy's choice or my choice?
Yes.
Perfect. I picked Seth Rogen, and I have a whole spiel to go on, and I don't want to interrupt the podcast. It's about why Seth Rogen is the perfect pick for Mario and how you could make a great Seth Rogen-esque movie out of Mario Brothers.
So I think Seth Rogen's voice is problematic for Mario.
Well, see, in my version of the voice, the mushrooms they're taking are magic mushrooms, so they're high the whole movie. So they can just pretend to be Italian. It's fine.
Just the way he talks so loud and boisterously and with that weird Seth Rogen sound.
When he jumps on a Goomba, I wanted to do that Seth Rogen laugh.
but I can see him in the role. Like visually, I can see him in the role. It's just you're gonna have to dub him over.
Mm-hmm.
With Kevin James's voice.
Yeah, there you go. That's the perfect mix.
All right. So Amy, I really love your pick for Luigi. Tell us who it is.
For the role of Luigi, I chose Andy Samberg. I think
Excellent.
he's funny. I think he would take a good spin on this co-star side character. And I know that in the original movie, John Leguizamo did more of a softer, sweeter, almost, I don't want to say stupid, but innocent. But it came out almost like he was dumb. And I didn't like that in the original, even though I still liked the character. So I think this new role would be a little bit more comedic.
I really
like
like it.
more punchy. I really like it too.
Yeah.
And you're right. I feel like they treated John Leguizamo's character like he had like some kind of disability.
One of the added benefits of having Andy Samberg on there is he could also bring along Lonely Island for the soundtrack.
True.
There you go. And you know he
True,
would.
That
That
would
would
be
be
good.
amazing.
And you know he'd like write lyrics to the main Mario theme.
I want to hear Andy's Mario rap.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That would be really good
You
add-on.
should do the whole soundtrack, every song.
Absolutely.
You know he would.
I mean, part of the remake, I was going to take out the dance, but now you guys just put that in. You made me want to leave the musical number in between at the club.
What? I don't remember this.
You don't?
Why do
When
I
they're
not
at the
remember
club
this?
and he's dancing, Mario's dancing with Big Bertha to try to get the meteorite necklace.
Oh yeah.
And they're all doing the
right.
90s version dance that nobody likes, but it's in every movie. The dinosaur dance. I watch this movie way too much.
I think he's a good pick. He is very, very funny, and I could see him doing a Luigi. So, all right, and then because Amy, you were thinking this might be a sequel. I put Peach / Daisy with the presumption that maybe they'd be going after Princess Peach in this one or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
well, in the movie, the lead female is Princess Daisy, and I would have chose Annie Murphy.
Oh.
She's great.
think she is funny, absolutely, in Schitt's Creek, but also in that new show, Kevin can F himself.
Which is
Oh my God,
fantastic.
yes.
I
Great-
just
great
feel like
show.
she has the gritty, hopefully comedic, push to be like a princess warrior type of girl.
She can. So the problem with Super Mario Brothers is in the traditional game, all the princess does is get captured and then get captured again. So if you're gonna stick to that, she has to be very sassy to have anything to do.
Well, in the movie, even in the 93 version, she wasn't like that at all. They
Yeah.
completely did not go depict off of the video game.
If anything, she's the
They
only
gave
competent
her-
one in the entire movie.
I wouldn't go that far. There's some lines that she say that I'm just like, wow, that was bad writing, or
No, I
that's a
mean
little-
her character is the only competent one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
hands
she's
down.
a paleontologist, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Mario's, I guess, female spin-off role, they chose
That would be Peach.
that would be Peach.
They called her
Princess Peach.
Daniela in the film.
Yeah, just his
Oh.
Italian girlfriend. I would choose Marissa Tomei,
Mhm.
which
Oh.
is very typical, but I'm guess I'm on this whole Brooklyn theme where everyone has to be Italian in Brooklyn in this movie.
So is it just me, or did it bother anyone else that Peach and Daisy, blonde and brunette, were reversed in the movie versus the video game? Because like Peach is blonde pink dress, because video game, that's all you see.
Daisy's
Daisy
in yellow.
and brunette.
Yeah.
And
It did not bother me.
okay.
But also, I guess I didn't even think about it that hard, the clothing, because I mean, when Mario and Luigi got into their plumber's clothes, they did the quintessential color. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you think they would do that for the princesses too?
Yeah. And I thought that they were trying to do that with the purple towards the end there, the purple like dress. But like
So Daisy didn't wear a purple dress.
no. No,
thought
that
she
was
did.
another one of the princesses.
I will say the costumes for the girl for Daisy were quite epic. Like that purple dress was just fantastic. Like I've googled it and I'm looking at it now and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Her jewelry was also pretty stunning.
Would you have chose anybody in the female role?
I like both of your picks in the female role, especially Annie Murphy. I'm super on board with Annie Murphy because she's got the comedic chops, she's got the acting chops, she's got the like the character she plays has the type of attitude you would want from someone getting kidnapped or her father getting turned to fungus or whatever. You know what I mean?
And can you see that dynamic between Annie Murphy and Andy Samberg?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see that dynamic?
It
Because
would be incredible.
that would be epic. The way they'd be able to you could actually, while directing this movie, just say, you two, riff. Let's see what you come up with. And I
Yeah.
think it would go fantastically.
Yeah. One thing about, you mentioned this, how Daisy in the movie is a paleontologist. I thought this was very cute. She becomes BFFs with Yoshi, who is looks like a baby velociraptor or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
in the movie. Yoshi is legitimately a dinosaur.
In the video.
Yes, I really
in the
thought
video
it was cute.
game, he is a dinosaur too. So I
Is he?
Yeah.
he
like a lizard
is.
thing.
Think about it. Mario Brothers is based in Dinosaur Land, in Mushroom Kingdom.
It is? Oh my god.
Yes, look it up.
Okay.
But somehow with green pipes sticking out everywhere. So I think
Hey,
it's
you
kinda
don't know
fantasy.
there's sewage problems.
True. 65 million years ago, there could have been sewage problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big
This is
green
accurate.
pipes, so clearly copper.
Yeah, I mean, their waste management must not have been great. Public Works
Oh,
needed some help.
And for the role of President Koopa, I would have chose William Dafoe because I think he is just a
He could do.
He's
he
a
could do a
psychopath.
wicked.
He's a
Which-
psycho.
yeah.
I wanted to say weird, but that doesn't even cover
No.
it. He's not just
like
weird.
Spider-Man.
He's a
He's
psycho.
intriguing.
That's what I
he's
was thinking,
Psycho.
yeah.
You kind of can't stop looking at him, but he makes me uncomfortable.
He's something of a scientist himself.
Yes. I mean, not just in
Nice.
Spider-Man, but I remember seeing Platoon was it? He was a crazy
Yeah.
person in that too.
Yeah.
I feel like everything I've seen him in, most things I've seen him in, he's just absolutely out of his damn mind.
Has anyone here seen the film Lighthouse?
No.
No.
Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson are in that. I won't go into detail, but he is off his rocker in that movie.
Is that the newest or newish black and white?
It's pretty new. It's black and white. It's the same. I think it's the same director as The Witch and The Northman, I believe,
Okay.
which are both also excellent movies. But yeah, both him and Robert Pattinson give unhinged performances in that in the best way. It's one of those weird movies that works despite the fact that it's everything in it is completely off its rocker. So, but yeah, I could see Willem Dafoe from that or from Spider-Man, some sort of combination of the two, just being a over the top, better version of Dennis Hopper.
So I was gonna say Dennis Leary, but I like where you're going with Willem Dafoe. I was gonna say Dennis Leary half because of if you've ever heard his stand-up or some of his music, and even acting all the way back to Sandlot.
Oh man.
I think he could.
I
drop
forgot he
into a
was
role
in
like
that.
Yeah, he plays the dad.
Yeah, he does.
I think he could do the role of being almost bipolar.
Mhm.
Your buddy, your friend in the interrogation scene, and then just drop right into being a psychopath. I think your choice for Willem Dafoe is a better choice.
And for the rest of the characters, honestly, I didn't think much into it. I did put down for Toad. Who did I put down for Toad? The guy who turns into Goomba, John C. Reilly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think he's funny, and he does sing a little bit in a lot of his movies. So I figured he could have a harmonica. I don't know, or something.
Doesn't Toad spend most of the movie though as a Goomba with no lines?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like that John C. Reilly's a good pick, but I feel like it would also sort of be wasted a little bit since he's just a smiling head that walks around.
And he's a very good actor. You're right.
Mhm.
But I have to say though, I do feel like Toad is a big part of the movie, and I know that he's half a Goomba most of the time. I just really like the look of him. I'm in love with the tiny head, big body, the whole dancing scene. I go back to when I was a kid, and I
thought that was cute.
It was cute. It absolutely was cute. There's no way you're not going to be able to look at a Goomba head again and then think
when they were in the elevator.
That's what I was going to say.
The elevator, like I remember turning to you, Nick, and I was like, is this the underwater theme?
Yeah, pretty close.
I didn't even think about that.
It was pretty close to the underwater theme. So definitely a nod.
That is one of my favorite scenes in the film is the elevator scene where they're like getting them to dance.
Yeah. There's only one reason why I know that's the underwater theme. It's because I was with a bunch of friends at a Denny's in college late at night, and my best friends were just going do 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 the whole time for a long time, and it was just like, that's how I know what it is. Like I said, I didn't actually play Super Mario Brothers, so well,
there it is. We just got a copyright strike. Thanks for that.
Oh crap.
And I did not even care in the movies that the Goombas did not look like the same in the video games. It was completely the opposite. Big heads, small bodies for the little mushroom guys. I didn't care. I just thought they were adorable. So let's leave it like that.
I did get what they were trying to do there, because they're trying to make them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like in the movie, if you did de-evolve their lower half and kept a big head or something, you lose the whole point behind King Koopa's muscle. Like you need big burly characters to fill that role, and
that are stupid that will just do as you say.
Yeah.
It's also hard to pull off special effects wise in 1993.
Yes.
Which I didn't think they did a horrible job on.
No, a lot of the special effects were practical.
Except for the whole dimensional shift.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was bad.
That was very bad. I mean,
when her face looked like it was diseased through the rock.
Yes.
I do like that no one's found a Grand Canyon sitting under New York City, though.
That is good news.
It's like not even that far underground.
kind of like episode 1's Big Trouble in China, the underground rivers of the Earth blood, and
there are canon reasons for that. Okay,
you really have it out for that movie, don't you? Like, I hated it. Listen, but like, I don't have it out for it.
The first time I had to see that movie, I just couldn't believe what I was watching. The second time I watched it, because you didn't watch it with me the first time, and it was on. And,
I think the more time you talk about it, the more I want to rewatch it, Pat.
I think maybe one of the reasons why I didn't get frustrated with this movie and I got frustrated with Big Trouble in Little China is that I didn't know anything about Big Trouble in Little China, and I got complete insanity and ridiculousness when I started watching it. And with Super Mario Brothers, it's like, okay, I kind of have an idea of what Super Mario Brothers is, and when I started watching it, it wasn't completely insane. So what I thought I was going to get based on the cover, if you will, and compared to what I actually got, were somewhat two different things. So that, I think, is probably why I'm a little more hatred. I have more hatred towards Big Trouble in Little China, and not so much Super Mario Brothers, which as a sentence I never thought I'd hear myself say.
And what I was trying to get to is that first time you made me watch it, I hated every second of it. And the second time I started to come around a little bit. And the worst part is I hate that happened. Yes. So I started liking the movie, but I hate that I changed my opinions on the movie because I saw it again.
I feel like when we got halfway through our conversation, though, you started to hate it again.
Yeah, once you actually think about it, it's the same with this movie. Like, once you put any thought into what's happening, it doesn't quite make sense. But
yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of move on from casting then to talk about some of the changes we would make to the film. Now, the original film is set in the 90s. I personally don't see any problem with updating it to 2022 or what have you.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that either, especially since you're going to be going into an alternate dimension where you can have any control of what it looks like. I mean, the directors went on their whole tangent of how they want it to look like almost a dinotopia of Brooklyn. Just alternate universes. So it could be
I think it's actually called Dinohatten.
Is it Dinohatten?
Is that correct?
Yeah,
that
it
would
is.
make sense if the dinosaurs were evolving into humans, it would be Dinohatten on the opposite side of Manhattan.
Dinohatten is the main dystopian setting of the Super Mario Brothers film.
They really thought hard about that. You guys change anything?
I would keep the special, with the exception of that weird trans-dimensional wall that looked like fake water. With the exception of that, I would be bummed if upon a remake they made everything CGI, as is the custom nowadays to save money, because I think that practical special effects aren't really a thing you see anymore, and I think it's cool to have that sort of production value to it. So I would feel bad if they changed. I would feel annoyed if they were to change that.
I think they absolutely do need to fix everything that was CGI and modernize that.
Yeah.
And to your point, Pat, I don't see this getting harmed at all being modernized to current times. Normally, you got to do the, well, if cell phones existed, could this story still happen kind of questions. Oh, if the internet existed, would this still happen? When you're talking about older films. But Amy, like you said, this is a whole nother dimension where anything goes. And like, they've got a de-evolver machine. Like, yeah, so like tech wise, it would still work. You could absolutely modernize it and get away with it. You could fix all the CG problems. You could fix the fungus craziness being the way that it is and actually make it look nicer and more intentional. And yeah, I think if you gave it a virtually unlimited budget, of which realistically it would never get, but if you gave it an unlimited budget, I think they could do something with it and kind of flesh it out.
And I think, like, at least with today's political climate, that you could get away with trying to make this movie have a point, even though it, almost doesn't need one. But you could make the movie have a point and fairly easily draw a parallel. Not fairly easily, but you could draw a parallel and put some kind of meaning behind it.
I think that undermines the meaning of the movie if you try to do that. Like, I get what you're trying to say.
But I mean, while watching this movie, it really did feel like it was like, okay, are you guys trying to make a point, or are you just trying to have fun here? So I mean, it was like it wanted to do one thing, but it ended up being another. And if it was going to have a point, okay, have a point. And I think if it were to be set in present day, it might be easier for it to have some sort of theme.
I would keep it apolitical because I think from a corporate standpoint, you don't want to alienate anyone.
That's true.
It's the same thing with there's a pizza joint in our town here which has political signs all over it, and I am not voting for the person who has the signs up, but that is not why I don't go to that pizza joint. I don't go to that pizza joint anymore because I don't want to go to a pizza joint stupid enough to turn half their customer base away. I want the people who make my pizzas to be moderately intelligent. So, and I feel the same way about like this type of movie where I wouldn't want to pull in like, oh, this is so and so from the real world. We're just kind of making him a stand-in, just because then you can have people go and enjoy it for what it is, or not enjoy it, as is probably what happens these days. But one thing I kind of wanted to bring up, though, in relation to kind of what we've been talking around, is when we go into Dinohatten, as it's properly named.
Good Lord.
Are we keeping this thing like a city, or are we trying to do more like the game where it's like this wild world, right? Because they kind of go into that a little bit in the movie where they go through the tube out into the wilds, but most of it's based on like one set that's like a street with like actual cars driving in Dinohatten, which for me is weird. I would expect it to be more of like a literally a medieval thing with like castles and that type of thing.
They only had the budget for Dinohatten.
Eh.
For the one
I-
street at Dinohatten.
I think that's
Yeah.
a good thought. If in my sequel, maybe Princess Daisy will expand her alternate dimension and go to different levels, lands. I don't know.
see where you're going.
Why not? It's an alternate dimension. Let's do whatever we want.
Will she have little cannons you can jump into and shoot off to a
Yes,
faraway level?
please.
No, big giant pictures in her castle that you can jump through to get to those different lands.
There we go.
That could be done.
Perfect. This goes without saying, but obviously update the action to make it serviceable for
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I don't even understand the concept of the cars in the 93 movie.
I get
I
it.
really don't get it at all.
They don't
tell
have
you the truth.
oil.
What?
They don't have oil
Oh.
because oil comes from a bunch of dead dinos.
Mm-hmm.
So they only have electricity.
But wait a minute, if they have green energy, why aren't we invading them to get their stuff?
Well, that whole cars are electric, but you've got this button that shoots flames out the back to make it go faster. Like, don't get me wrong, it was implemented very poorly.
Yes.
Or like the guns that shoot flaming balls of something that's got to be petroleum.
Yeah.
But you also have the B plot of how there's no resources left and everybody's PO'd because there's no resources. So like, I think it was poorly executed.
You see what I mean? Another
But-
example of the movie trying to have a point.
I don't think it was anything to do with that. I think it was what Amy brought up. You have directors with different perspectives on how to implement things.
No, it was clearly, listen, the oil companies knew about climate change back in the 70s, and the directors of the Super Mario Brothers wanted to bring this catastrophe to light way ahead of its time. You think Al Gore did it with Inconvenient Truth, but no, it was actually the Super Mario Brothers film.
Uh-huh.
Hell yeah.
Uh-huh.
Way ahead of its time. They knew Big Oil was out to get us.
No, my goodness. All right, Pat, let's hear it. You gave us a little taste earlier. You gave us
Before
a
I
little
jump
taste.
into my, what does anyone else have any other changes they want to talk about?
No.
All right. In that case, let's move on to the final section, a special section for this episode called Pat Pitches His CGI Stoner Slapstick Comedy, starring and directed by Seth Rogan. All right. So this is going to be a movie just like all of the other Seth Rogen movies. He just casts all of his friends in it. Like, have you guys seen This Is the End?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just all of Seth Rogen's
What
friends.
was the animated movie that he made where he was a hot dog?
Sausage Party.
Okay.
Oh,
That's a good
Jesus.
one. Yeah.
So stupid.
So listen, okay, Seth Rogen, and I don't know who will be Luigi. Jay, what's his name? Jay Baruchel, Danny McBride. Is James Franco canceled? I can't remember. If not, if he is, let's get his little brother in here. Everyone, all of his friends, they're all getting super high, my bros. Okay, and what happens is they're all high and drunk, and they take some magic mushrooms, and then they go to throw up in the bathroom, but they get sucked down into this magic world,
Jesus.
and then the whole movie is just them eating different types of mushrooms, and pretending, or not pretending, but like hallucinating the Super Mario Brothers world. So like they'll take the little mushroom and they'll go into like tiny, and then they'll just be like running around from their viewpoint, the little tiny Marios, and like trying not to get crushed by giant turtles. Okay. And then they'll take like the fly one, and they got raccoon, and like Seth Rogen will just be dressed up in a life-size raccoon costume with that little tail that he flies around with. Okay.
So what you're basically telling me right now,
Yeah,
is you want to take everything from Mario Brothers,
yep,
and everything from Alice in Wonderland,
Yep.
put it in a boggle and shake it up and see what comes out.
yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing. So here's the thing. This movie, I think if you make a live action Super Mario Brothers, no matter what you do, it will be bad. So I say, let's make it bad on purpose and just have some fun with it.
That's a good point. And I think that Seth Rogen would be completely like with that story, dude, just email them right now. Can you do that?
The only way this works is they all wake up the next morning laying on the bathroom floor.
Yeah, that's what would happen. And then like maybe like when they leave, like some hand would pop out of the toilet and like close the and shut close the lid on the toilet.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. But you could
Some
have
chef's
like
kiss.
Jonah Hill could be like Toad.
Oh man.
Danny McBride could be, and like I'm talking about like just Jonah Hill in like a stupid ass costume and like a toad. Like it's not meant to be good. It's supposed to be bad. You have Danny McBride be Kumba or Bowser, whoever. Okay, boom. I just printed Seth Rogen $100 million right there.
I seriously doubt that.
No, because Netflix would prepay for it.
Yeah, they would.
I'm not suggesting he put his own money up for this. Like, don't be ridiculous, Nick.
What's it called when you there was a meme term going around of when basically you take a movie and you do it ultra low budget, like cardboard cutouts and stuff. It's like sweeted or sweated.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I have not heard of that.
It was a meme for about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So what you're basically saying is tell Seth Rogen to do his best attempt at that.
Yeah. But with $100 million, just to be clear.
From Netflix.
From Netflix. Or Amazon paid $1 billion apparently for Rings of Power, and that didn't turn out very well. So presumably Jeff Bezos has enough money for this. So
I mean, if you can make penis rockets, you can make anything.
it's true. Amy, if I ruined your episode by pitching my own side movie?
No, I thought your concept was very fun and interesting. I don't think it would sell, even with your great cast of funny actors, because it's based on a bunch of guys just doing drugs, and it's to sell to a bunch of kids who play Mario Brothers.
No, I mean I'm closer to 40 than I am 30, and
That's
I played
true.
Mario Brothers when I was like 7. So
That's true.
I think we could sell this movie to people who like Mario Brothers and also drug addicts.
I mean, movies like Jay and Silent Bob, Dogma, Half Baked, Super Troopers, they all exist in that kind of demographic. I think you could get
They
away with it.
also all have
Yeah.
a concept.
And my dad
Pets
my dad took me to see Super Troopers in theaters. That's how cool of a dad he was. I think
Oh
I
my
was like
God.
15. Which is probably too young for that movie. But it was my dad's the cop, and it was about cops, and he's like,
Why not?
let's go see this movie.
Oh boy, how'd that turn out?
Well, I
It
mean,
turned out great. My dad, I love my dad because he's responsible for me seeing so many good movies, probably before I should have seen them. But that's a great childhood right there. All right. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Original Remake Podcast. If you'd like to provide feedback or have a question, please email us at remake.cast@gmail.com. We'll be back with another episode in 2 weeks.